A WWE star suffers a serious injury, plus scrapped plans for a WWE TNA crossover, and has the newest Bloodline member been revealed? It's all in the Cultaholic wrestling news right now. We talked a few weeks back about the absence, the very notable absence on television of Gigi Dolin. She was working a thing with Ariana Grace. They were doing a whole makeover storyline, and then it stopped.
And it was very strange because it seemed like the sort of thing that Shawn Michaels and his NXT would be unable to resist going all in on, and then they didn't.
Chef Michaels would not leave a dinner half cooked.
No, he certainly wouldn't. But he did in this case, and we're going to try and find out what that's about, because Gigi Dolin lost a match to Ariana Grace. The stipulation then meant that she had to allow Ariana to teach her how to be a real lady, a real beauty queen of elegance and poise and all that sort of stuff. And I think there was a long delay before it began. And then there's been like kind of 2 skits, but they've been very limited ones. And it hasn't been what you'd expect from such a stipulation, particularly in the very vignette-heavy world of NXT. But now it's been reported by Fightful Select that this kind of half-hearted effort and then apparent dropping of that storyline is due to a serious knee injury, and Fightful even says that Gigi Dolin has been seen backstage with a knee brace recently as well.
Now, there is support for Gigi in WWE, despite the fact that she's out with this, what is Fightful calling a serious knee injury. Says there's been long discussions about her potential main roster future. She's got multiple looks by WWE on main event as well. So she's somebody that they are very keen to see move through the ranks, but this is obviously a setback for the time being. We don't know the nature of how the injury occurred. I imagine that if you could probably connect the dots on, see where her last match was, it would presumably in and around then. But we don't know for definite that the last match was what caused the injury, because it could have been something completely different.
I'm not too surprised at them seeing potential in her on the main roster as well. Not just because she's great in the ring and everything, but because a common sort of type of superstar in WWE that's become massively popular, particularly with young girls, has been kind of the alternative or the edgy girl wrestler. Lita, Rhea Ripley in more recent times as well. Somebody who kind of represents or shows like women don't necessarily have to be overly feminine, and kind of the WWE diva trope that we've become used to over the years, over the dark ages of the women's division.
Yeah.
Someone who can break out and be like a strong independent character. And I think they potentially see that in Gigi Dolin as well. Paige, that was the other example too.
Paige is a good example of that as well, most
AJ
definitely.
Lee as well.
AJ Lee as well. There you go. There's a few there, and I could see her doing well on the main roster. I feel sometimes that she gets some script work in NXT that is somewhat hokey, potentially. And if we can push through that and get past that, she could probably have a lovely time on the main roster. Once she's better, full and speedy recovery to Gigi Dolin. Now, obviously, the big conversation with NXT at the moment is working with TNA, and Fightful Select have revealed that this is going back a couple of years ago. This is something that WWE wanted to do a while ago. They actually approached the Inspiration, formerly the Iconics, about doing some crossover stuff with then Impact Wrestling and WWE. And the Iconics, the Inspiration, Billy Kay and Peyton Royce, turned it down and just said, I gotta get it, because they had this run in WWE where they became women's tag team champions, and they just did nothing with them.
Yeah, their release was a particularly contentious one because they'd gotten themselves over with their humor and their antics, and they were so popular, and I think everybody was quite shocked when their run ended, because they seemed to be ticking all the boxes.
They did, and the fact that they split them up as well, which seems
that didn't help
ludicrous.
Yeah.
And then Billy Kay's first storyline, post-breakup, I've got to find a tag partner. You had a brilliant one!
Yeah.
Why did you... silly booking from a day gone by. So that was interesting to discover that recently, because there's been lots of conversation about WWE and NXT, and Fightful Select said
TNA.
that... Oh, sorry, NXT and TNA, rather. Yeah. So sorry. Shouldn't be drinking this time in the morning. Between NXT and Ring of Honor. No, NXT and WWE and TNA. I did it again. I'm just
part of the bit. It's just part of the bit.
Do the next bit about NXT stars having significant interest in working with TNA talent.
Fightful Select are reporting that Sean Ross Sapp has spoken to several women on the WWE roster who have indicated that they would love to appear on TNA programming. Natalya outright mentioned Jordynne Grace to them on camera during an interview as someone that she'd like to work with. One NXT higher-up mentioned Steve Macklin of TNA as a natural crossover fit, noting that there are few people in the wrestling industry more familiar with NXT and the Performance Center process than Macklin. Of course, he was Steve Cutler and was in the Forgotten Sons. and never really got the chance I think he fully deserved in NXT, but he was a part of that system for a long time as well.
And he's really built his own style and his own pace, his own energy, and I'd like to see that brought to the fore on NXT. Also, the NXT talent told Corey Brendan of Fightful that there's significant interest in working with guys like Josh Alexander, former TNA champion, wrestling machine, who would be a phenomenal piece of business to get on NXT at some point.
And his tag partner's just shown up and wrestled a main event in NXT as well.
There is the small matter of a reunion there. But the other name that's been banded around is 19-year-old Leon Slater, who has signed with TNA and has absolutely set the world on fire.
Yeah.
And another one that NXT guys are really keen to work with. And I imagine Leon Slater rocking up on NXT. That'd be great.
It's fantastic to see kind of vindication in terms of Leon Slater, because few people, especially Tom, but few people know how good Leon Slater is as those in the north of England, because he has been setting the indie scene over here on fire. He is the current North Wrestling champion as well, and is set to defend that at Thunderstruck too.
Thunderstruck July 13th at the Walker Dome in Newcastle. Leon Slater versus Man Like Darius headlines a show that features Joe Hendry taking on former WWE star Elijah, formerly known as Elias, among many other great things happening on that night as well. It's going to be North Wrestling's biggest show ever. Tickets available at northwrestling.co.uk. Come see us July 13th. It's going to be a lovely time.
Yes, but I was going to say, that was expertly done. But I was going to say, I remember hearing early on, before I'd ever seen him live, from people who work here and at North Wrestling, like yourself and like Fraser Porter, saying to me, like, this Leon Slater guy is unbelievable. And he's only a child, basically.
He's a child.
He's 19. And you were saying, like, he's unbelievable. Then I saw it firsthand, and we were all going, wow, he's unbelievable. But when you do that, you wonder, are we in a bubble here? How is he going to look to the outside world? But Leon Slater has wowed everybody everywhere he's gone since. So
yeah. And it comes with a lot of pride, but also a little tinge of sadness, because you know that genuinely you realise that because the world is now seeing how great he is, he's probably not going to be around the north of England for much longer.
Yeah. How do Taylor Swift's old fans feel now, you know?
Yeah,
now she's taken over the world.
I bet they are furious. Hey, look, TNA guys are not the only ones interested in popping on to see the wrestling on a Tuesday night. The WWE Undisputed Champion is as well. Cody Rhodes putting out a tweet saying, watching Battleground, curious how my old friend Ethan Page will do against Trick Williams. He lost. Actually thinking of dashing down to Florida this week with a gift and see some old friends.
So dashing is obviously a pun on his previous gimmick, dashing Cody Rhodes. What could the gift be? And does this mean, is this going to be like just some sort of behind the scenes stuff, or is this actually going to be Cody Rhodes appearing on this week's NXT? We haven't seen any official announcements yet.
You wouldn't put a tweet out like that and go, I'm just going to go backstage.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking, why have they not started advertising that already? Because surely they'd want everyone to tune into that episode. Cody Rhodes is going to be on the show. Unless
they do something, maybe they announce it later. Maybe by the time you've watched this, they've already said, Cody Rhodes will be on NXT tomorrow night. Maybe the gift is advice.
Maybe that
Ethan
is
Page.
Maybe the gift is whatever The Rock gave him, but it's going to be similarly just sneaky and like, here's a thing.
So we're just playing this big game of pass the parcel across WWE. But everyone keeps getting this mysterious gift.
Don't show anyone the thing.
Don't show anyone what I've given you.
And then it's just a note that says, can I have a title shot, please? Yes, no, maybe.
Or what if he goes, I have a gift for you, Ethan. That'd be brilliant. What a day that
Especially with the whole earnest Cody Rhodes build-up. Like, I've seen you go from strength to strength. My dad talked about how great you were, and now I have a gift for you.
That'd be great. His new thing is, he says he'll give this a big spiel to everybody, and then go, I have a gift. That's all he does now. We've just rewritten Cody Rhodes. Speaking of stories being rewritten, we've seen the Bloodline transmogrify over the past few months in the wake of WrestleMania 40. The newest member of the Bloodline may be about to appear in WWE, according to an exclusive from bodyslam.net.
Yes, they've reported that Hikuleo's final date with New Japan was June 9th 9th, 2024 at Dominion just this past weekend. After speaking to sources within the company, it is also believed that he is headed to WWE to presumably join his family in the current Bloodline story. It is not known how soon we can expect to see Hikuleo appear on WWE TV, as we have still yet to see the official debut of Jacob Fatu, who is also, of course, expected to be part of the Bloodline storyline, and was expected to be the shock debut in France, which turned out to be Tangaloa instead. So we're still waiting for Jacob Fatu, and we're now potentially waiting for Hikuleo as well. For those unaware of who Hikuleo is, he is the younger brother of Tama Tonga, who's in the Bloodline now, and the son of WWE legend Haku, or Meng for the WCW head.
I do like how the Bloodline has changed in the sense that the family tree has slightly gone to a different way, in the sense that it's gone from like the family in the blood of Rikishi, and now it's the family in the blood of Haku.
Yeah. And they're a bit more unhinged and crazy, and I like it. It's good.
It's great. So I'm enjoying it.
I can't wait to see what happens. Hikuleo, he would provide like a different element, I suppose, because he's just really tall. He's massive. So you've got Tama, who's kind of wild and fast. Tangaloa, who's being kind of the powerhouse at the moment. Soto's the leader. And you have this massive, tall lad. It's all the tropes that you need in a heel wrestling stable.
You've hit every single trope in the wrestling world. We'll go out, and then what will Jacob Fatu be? Just...
I don't know. I remember
he's power, isn't he?
He's the cute one. He's the mysterious one.
My name's Katrina, and my name's Lorraine. He would be the cute one.
I think that I remember some report that came out a while ago now saying like they're holding off on Jacob Fatu because they're worried that he would overshadow Solo because he'd be that immediately great. And for those who've watched him on MLW, you'll know how good Jacob Fatu is. So we'll have to wait and see if and when both he and maybe now Hikuleo crop up.
We'll keep an eye on that one for you. And for the latest wrestling news throughout the week, stay with Cultaholic. It is Clash at the Castle week. You're off to Scotland this week, sir.
I am. Myself and a small team are heading up to Glasgow for Clash at the Castle.
You're taking Fraser Porter back with you, aren't you?
Fraser's coming with me.
we won't leave him there like Nathan Jones when he went on that tour in Australia in 2002.
We need him. He's going to be our guide through the streets. We're also taking Owen Mawson and Piers, two of our wonderful editors here at Cultaholic. You may know Owen from the streams.
Nice ones.
Piers is going as well. He was down with me in London for All In, and is just a dab hand with a camera. He's a great guy. And we're going to just have a great time. If you see us knocking about on the streets, come and say hello. We'd love to say hello to you, and I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend.
And on the channel, it's 9 pitches for Clash at the Castle. It's predictions and live reactions as well, plus WTF moments and what happened at Clash at the Castle as well. It's a very Clash at the Castle week, and we'll keep it with Cultaholic. We'll tell you everything you need to know. For the latest wrestling news, check out cultaholic.com. Stay safe.